No, like if you were going to coach Rick right now on how to sit proper, what would you tell him? Because you're beautiful, Rick, but we got to get you proper.
He's sitting proper right now.
Oh,
I was like, oh.
She's
He's not all
you up.
slouched or anything, so he's
right.
doing good.
All right,
I think I'm doing all right.
He could use a little training on his walk. That's,
His walk, all right.
Down on the strip where the neon glows, there's a little shop everybody knows, where history's bought and treasures are sold. Gold and silver, stories untold. When the doors close and the lights dim low, Rick and Chum kick back, friends they get to know. Gold and silver by day, but at night, my friend, Pawn After Dark is where the stories and laughter never end.
Today on the podcast, we have Sabina Kelley. How you doing today, Sabina?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Yeah. Thank you. Rick, she is a trailblazer, a trendsetter.
Sort of like me.
Definitely much better than you. So Sabina started to do, dance and pinup modeling, and then she got these tattoos and set a whole new trend. Before you were doing this, it wasn't really acceptable in these kind of shows, right?
It definitely wasn't. I'm actually the first heavily tattooed showgirl to headline on the Vegas Strip. So that was a big breakthrough for a casino to allow tattoos on stage. But yeah, my tattoos actually held me back from a lot of stuff and helped me with a lot of stuff.
So what was the decision like? Because you had a successful career before getting the tattoos. Yeah. And I'm sure you worked with some of the best photographers out there. Were they giving you advice? Hey, don't get these tattoos. What was going
100%. So I was a pinup model, and it's something I've loved my whole life. And I started out with like a quarter sleeve of tattoos, and then slowly started going more and more. And it got to the point where I had one full sleeve, and every photographer was like, if you do your other arm, you're never going to be a model again. And I was at the point where I was like, well, this is me. This is what I enjoy doing. And I'm not going to, if I never model again, then I never model again. And I was dancing in Jubilee. That was before the tattoos. So I was a showgirl and did all that. But I really loved tattoos, and I loved the look of them, and just kind of ran with it. And I knew I probably wouldn't be able to dance again with the tattoos, but I did it anyway. And it actually turned around and worked to benefit me, because I was very unique at the time to have two full sleeves of tattoo and model. And I kind of just built my own little niche, to be a tattooed pinup model.
So were you dancing in Jubilee or any other shows when you were getting the tattoos?
No, you absolutely could not have any tattoos when you're dancing in Jubilee. If you had a bruise on you, you'd be pulled off stage. If you had tan lines on you, you'd be pulled off stage. So it was something that all my friends were tattooed at the time, and I wanted tattoos, but I didn't get any of them. Then I went to the Moulin Rouge in Paris, and I did the back of my neck right before I went there. And I got there, and they were like, oh my God, no more tattoos. Absolutely not, Sabina. And then came back from the Moulin, and I was just like, I want tattoos. And I just started doing the tattoos, and I honestly didn't think I was going to dance again. And that's kind of when burlesque came into the scene, because you could be curvy, you could have tattoos, you could, do what you want. And I started doing burlesque.
So let me stop you for 1 second. What was it like going to the Moulin Rouge and performing there? Because that's like the most iconic place, right?
It is very iconic. I thought it was going to be a lot better than it was. I was very young when I went over there. I had been super spoiled being in Jubilee and, living in Vegas. So I went to Paris thinking I'd never been to Europe. And I was like, oh, I'm going to Paris. I'm going to be a showgirl out here. Oh my God. I got there, and I was living in a studio apartment with 5 girls who could not speak English. We had no heat. It was the middle of the winter, and it was a nightmare. It was seriously, it goes into a whole long story, but I lasted a month, and I was like, I am out of here. I'm going back to Vegas. I was just, absolutely not.
A Vegas show on the Strip is way different than the Moulin Rouge. Okay, I'm not, you were in Moulin Rouge in Paris, but it's kind of cheesy compared to Vegas. It just, the food's not that great. I mean, literally you show up. I mean, it's like Russian mobsters at the door. They're like the doorman. And it's just...
So this decision to leave the Moulin Rouge, was it a build-up, or was there just like a moment where you're like, I'm packing my bags, grabbing a ticket home?
It was definitely, I was calling my boyfriend at the time, and they had the phones in the middle of the street, like the pay phones or whatever. And I called him from there, and two guys tried to, they grabbed me by my throat and like slammed me up against the phone booth. And I was like, I shoved them back, and I was just like, oh my God, these guys are gonna like kill me right now or something. And I was just like, I've had it with this place. And I was lucky enough that a cop was walking by at the time, and he like scared the guys away, and they ran, and I ran straight to my apartment. And I was like, I'm so over this place, and packed my stuff up, and I split.
Yeah. There are some bad neighborhoods in Paris. Yeah. Because I'm talking about like this is back in the like. I mean, I know I don't look this old, but yeah. Well, this was back in the day. This is probably like this is over 30 years ago. This is when your American cell phone did not work in Europe at all. Okay, and we were walking. When I go to the city, especially back then, I just walk all over the place. And then the neighborhood started getting worse and worse and worse. And then I'm trying to figure my way out of the neighborhood, and like a really so I'm slowly walking into a really, really bad neighborhood in Paris and trying to figure out how do I get out of here? And it got scary there for a minute in Paris because
It's
I was
really
in a
scary.
bad neighborhood.
Yeah, I mean, and the Moulin Rouge is in the red light district, and I had blonde hair, and most of the girls in the show had dark hair. And so I would get harassed walking down the street so bad. And I'm like, I'm going to dye my hair, dark brown or black. And they were like, no, you're not. And I was like, yes, I am. They're like, we'll fire you. And I'm like, they're like, no more tattoos, and you're not changing your hair
this
color.
Blonde hair, you're pretty iconic for this look right here.
I know. I just get bored because it's so fun to, do different hair colors. And every time I change my hair color, I'll get a company to pay me to do my hair back to blonde again. And I'm like, oh.
I have the same problem.
Not so.
Do you ever feel like maybe it's too much to kind of keep up this image that other people see you? Because, you're very beautiful. You have tattoos. You have the very blonde hair. And that's what I think photographers are hiring you to do, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think I've definitely created my own little niche. And yeah, it kind of sucks sometimes because they're like, oh, you're a pinup model. And I get cornered into that now because I've done it for so long, but I can do so much more. So I've recently been like stepping more into the fashion world and doing high fashion stuff and like proving to people like I can do fashion. Like even though I have curves and I have tattoos, like I can be a fashion model too. So I like pushing boundaries, obviously, and doing everything I want to do. So
well, I'm sure you have a lot going on. There's going to be so much to touch here.
So when did you first start? Like you were on like shows on the Strip. When did you first start doing that?
So I started doing Jubilee when I was 18. I was a baby of the show. I was on all their billboards. I did not have any tattoos at the time, even though all my friends were heavily tattooed. And I kind of felt like I lived two different lifestyles because I was a showgirl, doing the shows. And as soon as I'd leave, I'd be going to the dive bar. I'd be going to the Double Down with all my friends and drinking and getting in fights and, being a bad girl. So
yeah. So for the people watching and listening, the Double Down is the greatest bar on the planet. It's been a long time since I've been there, but we used to hang out there all the time where they would only take cash. There was an ATM machine. Okay. But if you literally went to the bar and try to play with a card, they just definitely know you're regular. They go like, no, you got to go to the ATM and pay cash, and then and their signature drink,
ass
juice.
We've all had our fair share. It's like they roll up the mat and squeeze it in there.
Okay, and they also have the bacon martinis.
The bacon martinis, but I think the true signature drink of the Double Down is the Pabst Blue Ribbon.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
So you come back from Paris, you get back to the United States, you come back to Vegas.
I did come back to Vegas.
And do you have stuff lined up already, or do you have to kind of go from there?
No, and I was warned too before I went to the Moulin Rouge. Fluff Lecoq, who is the director of Jubilee, was like, you're not going to like it over there. She's like, don't go, and was trying to get me to stay. And I was like, I'm going to go. And then when I came back, she was just like, I told you, So I came back and, started getting more tattoos. And that kind of led into doing the TV show Best Ink. And I was one of the celebrity judges on that show for all 3 seasons.
Which show?
Best Ink. It's a tattoo competition show.
He's not big on TV. Okay. So she was a stable judge for all 3 seasons. Okay. And what was that like? Because you're not a tattoo artist, but you do have a huge representation of the tattoo culture.
Yeah. Since I host tattoo conventions all over the world, and I've been on all the tattoo magazine covers, own tattoo shops, own tattoo removal businesses. and just kind of been in the tattoo industry for a long time, married to a tattoo artist. And so that kind of, when I got asked to be a judge and judge tattoos, that was very difficult because I'm not a tattoo artist. So I feel like that's kind of not fair for the artists. But being around the scene, I had to learn to judge the tattoos in a way where it made sense. Where, like, for me, it was about, you know, how it flowed on the body, how it looked, you know, colors and, you know, things like that, not the technical side of things. So that was kind of how I ran with it. And I was really close with the other two judges. So I would sit down with them every time we would film, and I would write notes and sit on my notes because I was like, do not talk about what I'm going to talk about, because that was what I really tried really hard, because I didn't want to be disrespectful to anybody in the industry, especially when I was a big name in that industry. So I worked really hard to make sure I didn't destroy my name doing that show.
Did you ever feel like you had to walk the line a little bit, kind of hold back something you didn't want to say?
100%, 100%. But then we had to say things too that I didn't want to say to people that I was like, oh, because they love, you know how it is. They love the controversy and the
Rick
the
loves
drama.
those moments. Yeah, he loves crushing people's dreams. We call him the dream crusher.
Oh no.
Yeah. So all your tattoos, is that just one artist or multiple artists?
Multiple artists. I probably only have about 5 or 6 tattoo artists that have tattooed me. I try to stick to like my good friends. There's not anybody that I don't know. But yeah.
So actually, I believe Kat Von D tattooed you on Inked, right?
She did it on LA Ink.
On
that
LA
was
Ink.
on her first season. She did the zombie.
So were
Beauty Queen.
you friends with Kat already, or?
We were friends. There were not a lot of women in the tattoo industry at that time, and so, you know, when we go to tattoo conventions, and I remember seeing her in London, it was like, oh, another girl, you know, and so we would like hang on to each other. But she was always really cool to me. So
Okay,
yeah.
well, that's pretty cool. She's very iconic, Rick.
I know who that is.
All right, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
So you're a huge tattoo advocate. You're tattooed, you know, down both of your arms, but do you still own the tattoo removal? I think it's Bombshell.
Bombshell tattoo removal. No, I actually stopped doing tattoo removal when I moved to Australia. I moved to Australia, where my husband's from, and I couldn't take my laser over there because the rules are different over there. So I sold everything. But now my husband and I own Smiles and Cries Tattoo here in Vegas. So we have that tattoo shop. It's 2 years old. So
Doesn't getting a tattoo removed hurt even worse than getting a tattoo?
yes.
Have you had one removed?
I've removed one myself. I removed my ex-husband's name off of me. I was like, oh, I don't care how bad it hurts. We're getting this off.
Yeah, Rick's removed 3 ex-wives' names off of him.
No, I've never got it. Yeah, I don't have any tattoos.
You have a tattoo.
I
Tell
have
us
one
Sabrina
tattoo.
about your tattoo.
What's your tattoo? You got to tell me
us
now.
about
All
it,
right.
Rick.
So, all right. So we were like 16 years old. We had a bottle of Indian ink, and my buddy wanted a tattoo, and we had no idea what the fuck we were doing. But I'm trying to give him a tattoo with like a needle and some Indian ink, and he kept on complaining how bad it hurt, and I just kept on calling him a pussy. And
Rick tattooed the solar system on his arm.
yeah, so he grabbed the needle out of my hand and rammed it in my arm to
Nice.
show me how bad it hurt, and I just went. I said that didn't hurt at all, and now I have a little teeny dot. If you look really close, it's the Earth.
That's
So
awesome.
what was that like? Because basically you're part of a tattoo shop for a long time, different tattoo shops.
Yep.
And now you have a tattoo removal company. What was the
I cornered
inspiration
the
behind
industry
that?
on that one. Well, honestly, I cannot draw for the life of me, so I would never be a tattoo artist. So I kind of wanted to do something when I couldn't dance or model anymore. That could be, you know, where I could make money once I can't do that anymore, you know? And so that was kind of my plan B, was to do tattoo removal, because I can't draw, so I would never be a tattoo artist. And then it went really well, because it's like my husband could put a tattoo on, I could take one off, you know what I mean? And so it was kind of like we had everything there. But yeah.
So would you remove a tattoo, and then your husband would you remove tattoos for people to come in and get something else there?
100%.
Well, because there's a lot of bad tattoos out there. I mean, like, you can go on like
Yes.
Instagram and anything, just type in bad tattoo and just go down that rabbit hole for hours. Because I mean, I've seen some just horrific tattoos on people.
Pretty bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like,
Most of them come from that same situation you got yourself into as a kid.
no, I mean, yeah, like,
Maybe you should buy your buddy a tattoo removal.
yeah, I mean, like, yeah, some people, I don't see how they, you know, like, for the love of God, just get it removed. I mean, they're that bad.
It's crazy, because people will come into our tattoo shop, and we're a very high-end tattoo shop here in Vegas, and they're like, oh, you're not the $10 tattoo shop. We're like, absolutely not. Like and it's funny because people will go to the $10 tattoo shop and then come back and be like, can you fix this? Can you take this off? And it ends up costing them more than, doing it right the first time.
Yeah,
and
because you got these young tattoo artists that are just learning and they got to learn on people. Yeah.
So
well, there's other ways to learn.
My
but
advice to people is always like, because I'm tattooed, they say, where's a good tattoo? I want to go get tattooed right now. I go, well, you'll have to figure that on your own. But my recommendation, if someone doesn't have a 2 or 3 month waiting list, then you're taking a chance, right? You want someone established. Do you have any advice to people who want to get their first tattoo?
Definitely. I would say do your homework and, look on Instagram or, look at your friends' tattoos and see what you like. And then kind of really check out that person's work. Like, don't just walk into a shop and be like, oh, give me this, or find what's the cheapest. Like, I would find what you actually like and the style you like and, the person you connect with. And then you'll be happy with your tattoo. Because most of the time.
there's a lot of different styles with tattoos. I mean, a really good friend of mine is Bad Apple Ed. Mm-hmm. Do you know him?
I do know him, yes.
And I know he's got, like, you're going to have to wait a minute before you can get an appointment with him.
Yeah, I mean, the culture of tattoos it's gone way up since, since I started getting mine. You actually know the person who did most of mine. I got these flames tattooed when I was like maybe 19 or 20, and I called the rent office. I was living with a son, and they said, you paid rent already? So I was like, well, can I come down and get a receipt? Because in my mind, I'm like, I'm going to go spend my $700 of rent on a tattoo. I got these horrible flames tattooed on me. They've worked up. But actually, Shannon Bundy did most of my tattoos.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shannon's awesome.
Yeah, so I decided that to cover these flames, I was going to have to put some other stuff on my arms there.
Yep. They're pretty bright still, too.
Yeah.
So
just the orange and yellow faded like on the snake's belly
so,
and stuff.
You also started doing burlesque. So you do that? You still do that here in town? Or?
I am. I actually just did a show at the Virgin Casino. What was it, like 2 weeks ago? So yeah, I'm working on putting a real show together. So we'll see how that goes.
All right, we'll talk about that in a second here. Maybe we'll go a little deeper into that. You started modeling, I think, at 14.
I started modeling professionally probably at like 18.
At 18?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And so growing up, what were some of the icons that you looked up to in the model industry?
I always looked up to the old 40s and 50s pinup models. So Betty Page, Bunny Yeager, those were like my icons. So that's a lot of people are like, what? Who? But
they were trailblazers themselves,
exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's good inspiration there.
So I wasn't really into more of the like supermodels at the time and all that. Like that, I never wanted to be a model. It kind of fell into my lap. I always wanted to be a dancer or an actress. And I mean, I do those things also, but like modeling just kind of hit and it snowballed into being my career. So.
Yeah, sometimes the career chooses you, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so did you grow up in Vegas or did you?
I grew up in San Luis Obispo in California.
Okay.
So I grew up there, and then I moved to Vegas. Well, actually, I moved to San Diego to go to college. And my dance teacher, because I was like, my parents were like, you have to go to college. And I'm like, I don't want to go to college. I just want to dance, And they're like, so I took dance at college, because if I had to go to college, I wanted to just dance. So I did that. And my dance teacher was 78 years old, and he was the tap teacher, and he was one of the choreographers for Jubilee. Okay. And I was like a little punk rock girl at the time, but I was like, all into the pinup stuff too. And he was like, you need to go audition for Jubilee. And I'm like, what? He's like, you need to be a showgirl because of my height and everything. And I was like, oh, I'll go audition. And so as soon as I turned 18, I went and auditioned and made it. And so I moved to Vegas. And that's kind of how I've tried to leave Vegas a couple of times, but I keep ending up back here.
That happens to everybody. I mean, you can't, once you become an official Vegas citizen, you know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, there's this mag that always brings you back.
I love it. Yeah,
so,
I love
and
it out
Jubilee is the show that's been around forever. It started off at the MGM, which is now which turned to Bally's, which is now the Horseshoe.
Yes.
Okay, and it was their big. I mean, they advertised it as their topless review.
Yep.
Okay, it's the big feathers, the outfits. It's so Vegas. It's
100%.
like
So it's the full Vegas showgirl with the headdress and everything.
Oh yeah, the costumes our headpieces were 25 to 30 pounds each.
What kind of neck workouts do you gotta do?
And then we had to walk down the stairs without looking at your feet in your heels, and make sure you don't tumble or slip.
I've never thought about that, but having 25 pounds in your head and
on
wearing
your back
those,
too.
Okay, and all that whole outfit, and then the big old. I mean, I've never. The closest I've ever worn to high heels is cowboy boots. And then, but walk down there because you have to walk out straight and everything like that. And then walking downstairs could be scary.
The whole Showgirl walk is a hard thing to do, and we work so hard on it. And also there's elevators too, so we had to be careful, like how you couldn't look behind you to see where the elevator drop was into the basement. So we'd have to know how many steps and how far you could walk back without looking before you would tumble.
So did many accidents happen?
Oh, there was a girl who almost died one time that she broke, I think it was her pelvis, her leg, and her arm or something. Yeah, like we had to, I don't remember if we canceled the show that night or not, but it was bad. Like everyone was terrified.
And everyone thinks like being a showgirl is like the easiest job. It must be because like all day long you guys have to like practice and practice and practice. And it's a tough job.
We were doing, when I was in Jubilee, we were doing 6 shows a week, 2 shows a night, and then we'd rehearse afterwards. If it wasn't to like complete par of what Fluff wanted, we would have to stay and have rehearsal after our second show.
So what was it like showing up your first day on the job? Was Jubilee your first?
It was.
Yeah, so what was it like? Were you intimidated? Were the girls welcoming? Or are they like, this is the new girl, we got to kind of haze her?
The girls were not the friendliest at first because a lot of them were older, and I was the baby of the show. And they don't leave. Once you have that job, you don't leave. You have to re-audition every 6 months, but a lot of those girls have been doing it for years. So when you're the new girl in, you kind of just hang out with the other new girls, and so... And again, I wasn't old enough to go out with all those girls. They were all older. And so I had to get a fake ID to be able to go out to all the clubs with everybody.
Fantastic swap.
I think that's a Vegas rite of passage. You get your fake ID when you're like 18.
I don't know, but we used to go to the Fantastic Swap meeting and get him out there.
Just a little different subject for a second. Tell everybody the name on your fake ID when you were like 18.
Johnny Zero.
You want to hear what happened with me? So I had a fake ID, but it was from a real person. But she lived in Arizona. I didn't know her. I think my boyfriend at the time, his mom got it for me from like one of her friend's daughters. And they gave me this ID, and it looked a tiny bit like me, but not really. And I took it into the Hard Rock, and the guy at the door goes, "This isn't you." And I was like, "Yes, it is," and he's like, "No, it's not." He's like, "I know this girl. I went to school with her." And I was like, "Oh," you know what I mean? I was like, grab it and ran. But,
so I'm so old. My brother, I got my brother's ID from him. Okay. And he had a Virginia driver's license, my older brother. Okay. And they still didn't have pictures on their driver's licenses back then. Okay, so I literally walked in there, and they're like, the only problem was they'd noticed the 6'2" sometimes.
You're like,
you're definitely not 6'2". Yeah. So how did you earn the respect of the other women working in Jubilee? Did that take a while?
It did, but I think it was that they started giving me a lot of the extra side jobs. Like I did the Donnie and Marie Osmond show, dancing on that. I was on all the billboards, and they had me on the program cover and all that. So I think just like sticking with it and being in that show. I was in the show for 2 years, and then I got auditioned for Moulin Rouge, and I thought I was doing something bigger and better, by leaving to go to Moulin Rouge, just because I was like, oh, it's Paris, no. But that's
so you transitioned from the Jubilee. What was the transition like? What was your first show when you had tattoos on, and how did you kind of? I don't know the best way to say it, but you kind of changed the acceptable norms of tattoos being allowed on stage for performers as the showgirl.
Yeah. So the first time I ever performed in Vegas on one of the shows was at the Strat now, but it was the Stratosphere. I did the show Pinup. I was the headliner there. So Claire Sinclair was the first headliner, and they had me coming in as like her backup when she wanted time off, and it ended up going really well that they offered me a contract to stay for a year, but I would go back and forth with her. And that was huge for them because that was the first time. They were actually very hesitant to allow me to be the headliner because of the tattoos. And they did it. But then I was like, I'm a pinup model. I have a huge name as a pinup model, and the show's called Pinup, and you're not going to have me be the headliner? Like, are you kidding me? And I have a dance background. So
I'm guessing that was maybe around 2014? Because I
think
I
it
remember
was,
doing some stuff with Claire
it might have been a
Sinclair
little
before
bit before that.
Little before that,
Honestly,
yeah.
I don't remember the exact years. But I did that and it was great. And so then I was like, okay, now it's acceptable to have tattoos if I'm a headliner or a specialty act. So I've done a lot of the shows around the Strip. Like I've done X Burlesque, I've done X Country. I did a touch of Burlesque. I've done, you know what I mean? So I've done other shows out here now where I've headlined the shows.
And I'm sure like you are a super catch for these other shows to have you do like a special headliner or something, right? Are these,
I
do
think
people
so.
come seek you out, or you just
They
like,
do.
you know what, I want to go to X Burlesque, I'm going to contact someone?
You know what? I do have a lot of people that have followed me for years. My fan base is super strong, pretty much 50-50 female and male, which is awesome. And so they've followed me since, you know, I was like 18 years old. So they've like grown with me, you know, and having kids and getting married and like, you know, followed my life. And so it's kind of cool.
I'm sure there's a lot of young women out there who grew up as you have being their kind of role model, what they wanted to, you know, model themselves after, because you know, there's tattoos are so in culture now. Models with tattoos are big things. How does that make you feel? Does anyone ever come up and tell you, oh, Sabina, you're such an inspiration to me?
I love it. And that's kind of why I started doing model coaching, because it's like, it's a chance for me to give back to, you know, and teach girls that are like coming up into the industry, or that are just like moms that, you know, kind of feeling like, oh, feeling a little frumpy or something, and that they're not beautiful anymore. And they'll go and get, you know, we'll do their hair and makeup, and I'll pose them best for their body type. And it'll be with my full team of people, and do photo shoots, and then give them these pictures back, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm gorgeous. I was like, yeah, you are, you know? And so it's kind of a way where I can teach girls that are either coming into the industry, you know, any questions that they have, like about the industry or what to do or direction to go on things. So I like answer those questions, or it's girls that have like really never been in front of the camera, and I can teach them.
Yeah.
Have you ever coached any men at all?
I do. I
Do you
coach
think
men.
you could give Rick like a little sit-up advice? Like, no, like if you were going to coach Rick right now on how to sit proper, what would you tell him? Because you're beautiful, Rick, but we got to get you proper.
He's sitting proper right now.
Oh.
I was like, oh.
She's
He's
buttering
not
you
all
up.
slouched or anything, so he's
All
doing
right.
good.
All right.
I think
yeah.
I'm doing all right.
He could use a little training on his walk. That's, you know,
His walk, all right.
Yeah, you might be able to help him
I'm
out
60
there.
years old. I'm not going to learn new tricks. So, but speaking that I'm 60 years old, so like the first time I ever saw like the big Showgirl shows on the Strip, I think was 1984, 85. That
Okay.
was Lido de Paris.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
What
No,
was
it-
Was that
like
at
back in
Stardust?
1984? Was it at the Stardust?
It was at the Stardust.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I mean, this town has such an amazing history when it comes to that. I mean, like, we think of all the showgirls equal Vegas, but that didn't happen till like 1956, 1957. I think it was the Dunes had the first review like that. Right afterwards was Lido de Paris, and they advertised massively that it came from Paris. And that show stuck around for a good 30, 40 years.
I saw the Lido in Paris, so yeah, and it was probably one of the most amazing shows
Yeah.
I've ever seen.
But there's something about Vegas. I mean,
We've even got the headdresses come here into the shop. Do you still have
Really?
your headdress? Yeah.
no,
They're so
I would
iconic.
die to have any of my costumes, because we had the Bob Mackie costumes or Pete Menefee ones, and they're gorgeous and
Yeah.
they're worth so much, and they're so. I actually did a photo shoot in my costume from when I was 18 years old in one of my calendars a couple years ago.
That's cool.
And it was like 20 years later, you know, wearing my old costume from when I was in Jubilee. So it was pretty
Nothing's
cool.
as iconic says Las Vegas like
It's
a
the
showgirl
Showgirl.
setup.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yep.
it's so iconic that when Oscar Goodman was mayor, he would have the showgirls
Showgirls
following around. Yeah.
Yes.
And no, but there's just a great history of like the shows on the Strip with the showgirls. Burlesque. There's a great. I mean, did you ever see the Broadway play Gypsy Rose Lee?
No, I would love to.
Okay, because that was actually on Broadway. I think in like the 80s, and
Okay.
it was the story of her life about how she would be at these she was a kid actor, and there would be like these burlesque shows and stuff like that, but just the way the laws were down south and stuff like that, they had to have like a real talent thing. So like the Gypsy would be tap dancing in the middle of it between burlesque things. I don't, okay, but anyway, she became the most famous burlesque dancer in the history of the world.
Yep.
I read a book about her like a long time ago. I don't remember all of it, but had an amazing life. as burlesque, and
Yes.
she's the one who more or less made it. People started recognizing it as an art form because of her.
Yes.
And like
Her and Tempest Storm also, and Tempest Storm lived out here for a while too before she
Yeah.
passed away.
so, but if you ever get I gotta look up. I gotta read that book again. I'll find it on.
Yeah,
I'll
I wanna
find
read it
another book
too.
is what you need to read.
Yeah.
So you love cars, is that right? Do you
I
have
do.
any classic cars? Rick loves cars
Oh, we
too.
can talk cars.
All right, let's
I can
talk
nerd with
cars.
you here.
Oh yeah, because you have a car. You have your cars at Misha's, right?
I've
Divine
got some at Misha's. I've had
Yeah.
I mean, I got a lot of different cars all over. I've done a lot of them myself.
But I've
Awesome.
heard enough about his
I know.
cars. I want to know about yours.
So right now I currently have a '78 Skybird. So do you know what that is? It's a girl's car.
You stumped
It
him. First one ever.
You need to look that up.
I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, there's only I think 3,500 of them in the world. It's baby blue velour seats and baby blue like on the outside.
who
and
made it?
It's a Pontiac
Okay.
Skybird, and it's a girl car. They like specifically made it for girls. They did a yellow one, a red one, and a blue one. And I got the blue one. So each of them was for 1 year, and it was for the year I was born. And so I was like, oh, I have to have this. And so I have that, and then we also have a '62 Impala, and we are building a '64 Impala right now in LA.
So is your Skybird, is this like, I've never seen one. Can you kind of describe it? Does it have like nice, sexy lines, or is it more of like a sports car?
It's a muscle car, and I was never huge into muscle cars, but then this car was like so cool, and every time I drive it, everyone's like, "What is that?" And, it almost. I'll have to show you a picture of it. My phone's not here though. It's over there. But it's a beautiful car.
And so, yeah, you said you had a '64 Impala as well.
64 that's
Yeah.
being built right now, and a '62 Impala
It's a
also.
beautiful car. Yeah, I had a '64 Impala, but mine had hydraulics.
I love I like 1960s cars. I mean, like, and even 50s cars. In the 70s, everything. But like, no, I mean, because they were made by designers.
Yes.
And it really mattered how they looked. They didn't care about fuel economy. They didn't care about how aerodynamic was. It was just how cool the car looked.
Right. And I have a hard time nowadays because I don't see cars anymore that I like. Like, I love all the old classic cars. And so now I'm like, everyone's like, oh, what new car do you want? I'm like, like
They don't make them like they used to.
Yeah,
Well, no,
I
no.
love the old classic
There's a
cars.
reason they don't make them like they used to, because they're
There's
not nearly as
There
reliable.
was a lot of drugs going on in the '60s that I think fueled the design concepts.
So what are your current projects?
So currently, right now, I just got back from performing in Europe and model coaching out there. So I'm back now. I'm going to start shooting my calendar for next year. I'm doing some more model coaching, and I'm in the works of putting a show together out here. So
Okay.
We'll talk
any
about
highlights?
The show. We'll talk about the show in a second. First, let's. What do you have here? We ask everyone to bring something important or cool. What do you got here?
So I'm not. Oh, sorry, I'm knocking things over. So I'm not a huge collector of things, but obviously, I love everything pinup, and so I shot with Bunny Yeager twice, and so this was a signed photo that she gave me that just says, "To Sabina, one of the top pinup models in the 21st century, love Bunny Yeager."
So is that Bunny posing on? Where's she at there?
Probably on the beach in Florida.
Okay, yeah. So some
Yeah.
nice sand. That's a pretty iconic pose
Yeah.
too, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what
Yeah.
year that photo was taken?
I don't remember what year. I'm guessing probably in the 50s. And then I also have one of these little magazines that she made of Betty Page that she signed also. So it's like,
that's cool. Can I see
yeah,
that?
for sure.
It's almost like a comic book.
It is kind of like a comic book. When you read the inside, it's like, it's kind of cheesy.
So it's pretty like. So this is Betty Page
Yeah.
being tied to a tree by maybe like an indigenous kind of
Yeah.
Aborigine guy, and she's wearing a very sexy cheetah bathing suit, and then it's signed right here to Sabina, Betty Page. This is pretty cool, and yeah, it is a little comic book inside.
Yep.
Here, sweetie, give me a kiss. She's like, petting the goats and the zebras and feeding the giraffe. This is, oh look, she's got.
It's
Little
super
champ,
cheesy,
yeah.
a cheesecake pinup.
But I mean, this is what people liked,
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is do we know when this is?
Well, that's a newer one. I can tell you that. I
All
mean,
right.
it's probably a reprint of an
It's
older book.
probably, yeah, because if you read that.
Because you have to remember, like, back in the 50s, 60s, even the first half of the 70s, there was a lot of censor laws out there.
Yes.
Before they came up with like the movie rating system, PG. Literally, it went across this country. Every city had their own censor board. So they had to really tone down every movie because, if one city was stricter than the other, suddenly you're releasing your movie in half the cities you can't get into. So that's why they came up with the whole motion picture rating system.
Right.
And this, most cities, like a bathing suit is as risque as you could get back then.
And Bunny Yeager was telling me that she invented the bikini. I don't know if that's true or not, but that is her claim to fame that she claims.
This is the nerd Rick. Okay, I believe it was a French designer.
Okay.
Designed the bikini, and he named it after the Bikini Atoll. Okay, where they first.
What's the Bikini Atoll?
That is where they let off the first hydrogen bomb in the Pacific. It was next to the Bikini Atoll, okay? And it was like everyone was talking about Bikini Island got blown up, and this French designer comes up with the bikini.
So Bunny Yeager made it.
So
she popularized it for sure.
Yes, but it was invented by a French designer named after the Bikini Island.
Yeah, she would make her own bikinis to shoot in because they weren't being made at the time.
Yeah,
so
maybe I should design bikinis.
As long as you're not going to wear them, I think I can get behind that. Sabina, in a bikini, I'm all for it. You in a bikini, I'd rather go to the dentist and get all my teeth pulled.
No.
I think you look good in this right here.
All right.
So do you have any projects that you want to talk about, or are you still kind of keeping them under wraps?
There's a lot of stuff that I can't really say right now, but yeah, there'll be a lot of good stuff coming
when
really
the cameras
soon.
and the mics go off, you can give us some top secret info.
Yes.
So if people want to stay up to date with what you do have planned when you do release information, what are some of the platforms they could follow you on?
Well, I have my website, which is sabinakelley.com, or on Instagram at Sabina Kelley.
And Kelley is EY, right?
Yes, it's EY.
Right.
Sabina, Sabina, Kelley, Kelley.
So I think we have something in common as well. I don't know if you still work with your pit bull advocacy that you work with, but I did have pit bulls most of my whole life. Fortunately, neither one of my pit bulls are with me any longer, but I think they're very misunderstood and such sweet animals. 100%. Do you have any fun stories working with these?
Oh my gosh. I actually just did a calendar shoot for with Mike Ruiz, who is one of the biggest pit bull, he's a photographer he's a huge high fashion photographer that goes to, these rescues and grabs the pit bulls and does photo shoots of them and making them look super sweet and everything, even though they are super sweet, and then posts about it. And then a lot of the models will repost what he does, and we find these dogs homes. So I am a huge lover of pit bulls and staffies, and those are the main dogs that I have always had most of my life. And I do anything I possibly can for them. When I did the show Pinup, that first week that I ever performed there, we did where it was a percentage of the money that was made went to a pit bull rescue. Okay. So that was I like to do stuff like that because I'm obsessed with those dogs.
Pit bulls are very misunderstood.
100%. They're the sweetest dogs I've ever met.
I've been a dog guy my whole life, and it's literally your dog's going to act like your owner. Okay.
Yeah.
If you have a loving owner of a dog, no matter what breed they are, you're going to have a loving dog. I mean, and I just think it's because they just got a really bad rap, and the communities that ban them are being banned by really stupid people because they don't know anything about dogs, and they're just I don't know what their thinking is.
I mean,
his pit bulls, they were ginormous, and they loved me. I think they actually loved me a little bit more than Chum.
Yeah, maybe. So I always draw back and I show people. I one time wanted to buy a Chinese Crested, the hairless dog. And the lady somehow found out that I had pit bulls, so she wouldn't sell it to me. I'm glad I didn't, because I ended up buying a Pomeranian, of all things, while I had these two pit bulls. Yeah. And my 5-pound Pomeranian ran the pit bulls with fear and terror. They were shaking in their boots over this 5-pound dog. Their heads were bigger than her.
I had a hairless cat, and she was tiny, and she ran the house. She ran the pit bulls. I had 2 pit bulls at the time, and she was a hairless cat, and she was seriously this big. She was super little, and she would whoop their butts. She'd just be funny? And run around, and but then she thought she was a pit bull too. So she would just follow them around, except for she can get on the counters and she'd kick them down food,
Yeah, no, I've always had boxers, and people are afraid of boxers too for some reason. No, I mean, I think they're they're the goofiest dogs ever. Because but no, they're dogs are literally if they have good owners, they're good dogs.
Yeah. I mean, my mom has chihuahuas, and like a chihuahua's mean. They're mean little dogs.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I grew up with chihuahuas, and it's like, it's just because they're a little dog, they can get away with it. Like if a pit bull acted like that, it was like, oh,
Yeah, well, my ex-wife
done.
had chihuahuas, and they hated me.
Yeah, you know, Pinky loves you, so that's all.
All right.
That's all good. That's all that matters. So, I mean, from pit bull advocacy to pinup modeling and dancing, what kind of advice would you give young women who want to come, not necessarily just into Vegas, but who want to make it in the world that you've, blazed a trail through?
I would say be yourself. Like, I know a lot of girls are like, oh, I want to be just like Sabina or this model or this, you know what I mean? And it's like you can take inspiration from another model or performer, but we don't need two of the same person. So it's like I always try to tell girls, like, be yourself, do what you want to do, and people will be drawn to you from then. So it's like that's probably my biggest advice, because so many girls are like, oh, I'm gonna do my hair the same color and cut it the same and look exactly like them and wear what they're wearing and do that magazine cover they just did. And it's okay to like take inspiration from it, but you don't want to. There doesn't need to be a second person like that.
And a lot of these young people, I mean, I think the amount of work shocks them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I know, I mean, first off, you can go into dancing and not be good at dancing, and you're never going to be good at dancing, because I know I would never be good at dancing.
But you're not afraid to do it. That's the important part.
That's it, yeah. But,
As long as you have fun.
but it's years of learning before you could even start, right?
Yep. I've been dancing since I was 2 years old.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, it's definitely, I grew up dancing, and even with modeling, it's kind of like you have it or you don't have it. You can teach people, yes, but like, again, I've seen some of the most beautiful women in the world, and you put them in front of the camera and they're like a deer in headlights. And then you'll see a girl that you kind of like, she's a model, and then you put her in front of the camera and she's the most gorgeous thing in the world. So it's definitely, you have to learn too and work really hard to be a model. And again, there's so many different styles of modeling. And I mean, TV and stuff too, it's not easy. You learn as you go through it, and there's a lot you have to do. It's a lot of hard work.
So do you think, is it safe to say that starting dancing at such a young age, did that help you develop a discipline to stay focused and move through life, accomplishing one goal at a time?
100%. And I think especially ballet, like for young girls, even little boys, because it helps them if they want to be a football player and stuff, it helps with all that. It teaches you grace. It teaches you how to hold your body, how to know your body, how to move your body. I think dancing 100% helped me with everything in life. So I think it's really important.
Yeah. So because I imagine you got to go to the gym in the morning and then go to work, and then you're exhausted by the end of the day because you burned like 3,500, 4,000 calories.
Yeah. Well, just going to the gym is enough for me. I don't know if I could do all that. Do you ever find yourself
money I would spend to see you dancing on stage?
Hey, fork it out. You got some hundreds? I'll give you a show right now, baby. So what's it like balancing being a mom of 3 and holding a successful career?
It's hard. It's really hard. But again, like obviously my family always comes first. But I don't stop working. I think that's just kind of like, I just keep going. I don't stop. And I think I'm always constantly trying to find the next thing or what I'm going to do. And I just do. I balance between the two of them. And the kids have gotten to travel a lot of places with me when they were younger because I was modeling all over. And so they got to go to a lot of really cool places all over the world, which is awesome for them. So they kind of understand. They know when I'm not around why. And that's how we live. That's...
I've always seen that, really successful, well-off people are just kind of workaholics, and and it is hard trying to balance family and
super hard
business, and and you're famous, so there's a little bit of everything going on there.
I get joked about that I'm a super mom doll because I'm a mom and a model, and I'm just like, oh God.
Well, you're definitely a trailblazer.
Thank you.
You set a trend. You paved the way for women in the tattoo industry to be taken seriously on stage.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure having you here with us today.
Appreciate it.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think everything we covered was awesome. We talked about a lot.
Yeah, Well, people know your story. I was trying to get into a little bit more depth, I'm sure everyone asks you what your favorite tattoo is, right?
That's like always the question.
All right, we just got to bring up one more thing for the podcast.
Okay,
and for
what is it?
people who are listening and not watching, okay, Chum has these really loud black and white shoes that say 730 on the side of them.
Put your leg up. I can't see. Okay.
Yeah.
They're really shiny.
Yes.
Yes.
And what are they?
The same brand I always tell you that I wear. This is, Ass Pizza.
What?
Huh?
Is that a real name?
His name is Austin Babbitt, but yeah, Ass Pizza is his brand. But he also has another brand called Babbitt now. So,
Okay. You know what?
An Instagram guy, makes clothes and sells them on Instagram, or he does like giant meetups.
Good
Like
for him.
you, I love fashion. I really, really love fashion, and I'm one of the best. I'm one of the best people. I'm one of the best guys that a woman can take shopping because I have a good eye. I'm honest, and I don't mind critiquing and looking and giving my honest opinion. I actually love shopping. I love fashion. I know. I'm all black. I'm wearing all black. Just
It's okay.
Okay. All right. I'm just looking at the shoes. Yeah. All right. So it's been an absolute pleasure having you.
Thank you. It's great being here.
So next time you have the super top secret show you're developing, let us know about it, and we'll come and see you.
All right. Sounds
All right.
good.
Well,
thanks
thanks
guys.
for hanging out with us today, and everyone listening, blaze your trail, and we'll see you next episode.
This is Pawn After Dark.